Welcome to the Spiritual Free Spot, a place where you can rejuvenate your soul. Hosted by author M.B. Mosley. This is a safe space for all.
I'm so excited. I am still basking in the presence and the energy of the 5-part series of limiting beliefs to discover our manifesting mastery. Best believe that this year we're going heavy. We're talking heavy about manifestation because this is the year of abundance and success. This is the number 2024 is the number 8. Okay, the signs are all around us. If you're looking for a sign, this is it, right? This is the year to manifest abundance and success, whatever that looks like. So if you have not listened to the 5-part series on limiting beliefs, understanding your limiting beliefs, how to unpack your limiting beliefs to achieve manifesting mastery, then tune into the Decoding Dreams podcast. I mean, it's still resonating within in my soul, and I thank Spirit for that message. Today, I'm so excited. We are talking as it pertains to manifesting mastery. Okay. We are talking about gratitude. We're going to put a twist in this gratitude, in the energy of gratitude. I'm seeing and I'm feeling how Spirit wants to move about this. And it's going to be a story time that's truly going to help somebody. Because remember, when I created this podcast years ago, it's all about the messages resonating with someone within this moment and within this time. Because like most, I am on a journey to discovering my true self. I want to thank you all for listening in. Before we part ways, because I'm going to log off from TikTok and continue the podcast here on Decoding Dreams podcast, I just want to give a shout out to the people that are tuning in, my global audience. I love looking at the stats. I love seeing new numbers. I love seeing new countries in there. And I'm just going to say, I just be like, thank you, Netherlands. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for listening. I am so humbled. And this part 2 goes back into the limiting beliefs. Y'all remember in one of the people that have been listening to Decoding Dreams and one of those limiting belief episodes, I tell y'all my true self. I tell you how I felt about thinking about receiving greatness and goodness, right? And then reconfiguring the speech to say I do deserve goodness and greatness. So listen, Netherlands, shout out to you. I want to shout out to Australia. Family from down under, I see you. Canada, shout out. United States of America, home team, you always come through. You always come through. You always come through. Thank you all. But we're continuing the conversation at Decoding Dreams podcast. So thank you all so much on TikTok for tuning in on TikTok. I want to thank you so much for purchasing the journals from our shop. I want to thank you so much for stopping by, giving loves, likes, commenting on the videos. I see you, TikTok, and I love you all so much. You mean the world to me. All right. I got to continue with this episode. Be sure to download it. Today is Tuesday, January the 30th. So it should be up and running after 12 noon today. Decoding Dreams podcast on most of your podcast platforms. Right, family, we're continuing on our journey for understanding how to achieve manifesting mastery. And just to also be effective at our manifestation processes. Who am I? I'm just a mere mortal that has traveled through this earth and utilized manifestation methods that have in return always worked out for my good. I am a person that has done I do visualization, I do vision boards. And for me, it's a lot more of seeing and a lot more of also believing that I have it before I have it. So the act of actually living within the moments, like when it came to my dream cars, I would literally be in the visualization stage before I went to sleep to smell the new car, to feel the new car. I would go to the dealership when they were closed because I'm like, y'all ain't finna heckle me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gathering up my coins. Okay. And I would look at it. I would touch it on the outside. I would see myself in it, all white, cream, Seaton, the showroom collection. This is where I am at. And this is why I love talking about manifestation. I saw manifestation work out for those of you that have been following me. I saw manifestation work out for me during my addiction. And for those that have been listening to the story for all this time, you understand that at that time, I did not know how to articulate manifestation, but I realized in hindsight, I was utilizing the techniques of visualization, seeing myself being better, seeing myself living a better life, seeing myself walking at this park that I dreamt of walking. And once again, when I talk about this, if you are somebody that is struggling with addiction, follow the lead of your professional and do seek professional help as well. And so, because I know what works for others doesn't work for everyone, right? And so, I mean, all the way down to my dream home, I still have my initial book where I drafted out each room of my dream house, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, what kind of house I wanted. And sure enough, down to the house being brand new, down to dressing up the house, picking out. I likened it to like putting on an outfit. I had to determine the color of my shingles. I had to determine what kind of flooring I wanted, what kind of fixtures I wanted inside the house. I mean, I am a manifestation success story, and I'm only here to share with you the realistic nitty-gritty of manifesting. I'm not here to tell you that sit there and think of a big mansion and it'll drop on your lap. With manifestation, work is involved. Thorough work is involved. Do we ever always get that work out the way? No, but that's part of the process. It's about living in the moment, understanding where you're going, and enjoying this moment and reclaiming this moment. Now that we're done with that disclaimer, let's get into this. Spirit was laying it thick and heavy on me, right? In this season, in this year, number 8, the year of abundance and success. In this year, Spirit kept resonating gratitude, 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 gratitude. I said, okay, hush, 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 hush. It's an ongoing battle. My day ones know how I be feeling about spirit sometimes. But here we are. Let's talk about the energy of gratitude. I used to struggle with this for the longest time, especially coming into spirituality, trying to understand, okay, well, I give thanks to all things. I mean, I'm thankful, right? But it goes far and beyond meaning you're thankful, thinking you're thankful. It's truly what resonates within your soul and spirit about what you are grateful for, right? Now, I'm going to share a story. It's story time. Hoping that this story resonates with someone. This double entendre, somebody learned something today, story is a twofold story. We're going to talk about the energy of gratitude as it pertains to manifesting, and also understanding, recognizing your situation, having wisdom / discernment to understand how to pivot from your situation and still remain with an energy, an atmosphere, a spirit sphere of gratitude. Because let's be real, it's hard, right? I mean, I don't know about y'all, but if I'm going through some hard things in life, because life be lifing. So if I'm going through some hard things in life, sometimes it's like, okay, you want me to give gratitude? It's one of those like, I guess I'm thankful. I guess I'm thankful to be alive, but it's like, really, sis, do you really mean that? I mean, but it's one of those of like, okay, I got to say something positive into the atmosphere, right? But what is it that we truly are believing? Within the times that life tests us, within the times that life is pushing our backs against the wall, what is it that we are truly grateful for? You know, when I used to struggle with this, I realized, you know what? It doesn't have to be big. Spirit finally laid it on me and said, girl, you're doing way too much. And I was like, Spirit, I want to do too much because I'm extra. But Spirit was like, tone it down. You don't have to do all of that. You don't have to go soul searching for what you're grateful for within times of tribulation, within testing times, within character building moments. You don't have to dig too deep. Just look around you. Sometimes it's just about looking right around you. Perhaps you're a person, listen, in this economy, perhaps you're a person who's driving a 1999 model, but everything is going to freaking, Murphy's Law is Murphy's lawing, is doing its thing, right? So how do you, within that moment, to me, I'm grateful for this car because I'm hearing that car notes out here are super high, right? That thing, because sometimes it feels like, oh, well, we've had this car for over 10 years. What am I grateful for? I learned, and I want to teach you all this. This has been a powerful moment for my life and a powerful adaptation to my life because like I said before, it was hard for me to, when life was lifing, just spiraling out of control, I wasn't quite sure of what I was supposed to give thanks to and give gratitude to, because low key, I'm feeling a little bit salty right now. Like I'm feeling a little bit not up to giving anybody anything, any thanks. Like, what are you talking about? My life is in shambles. It's like a freaking train that has derailed. Okay. Going for a freaking crash. Unless we can reroute the course of this train and figure out how to make it work, then I'm all ears, right? So I learned when Spirit was teaching me that gratitude doesn't necessarily always mean having to look and search for the big things. And also when you realize that gratitude could be the simplest, most, like what we call it these days, basic things, then I learned to be content in those moments when I would see things spiraling out of control. I would be grateful that at least I have a desktop computer and I could still exercise my writing on my word, right? The simplest of things. Didn't have this desktop for 10,000 years, but at least I could still get into the thing that makes me feel good the most. So what does gratitude look like for you? Are you struggling with gratitude? Listen, when life is lifing, it's like, what are we thankful for? What are we thankful about? Right? Your family, your children, your pets, the roof over our heads, right? The job that we do have. One thing I'm learning is when I want something and I'm believing the universe for something, I start to give gratitude for that thing as if I already have that thing. And then I don't complain about the current situation. Rather, I focus on what it is that I want, which of these are the ultimate keys to manifesting, as we've been talking about, right? So I focus on what I do want. And I focus on giving gratitude towards that. So, for example, if I am in a toxic workspace, I'm not going to dwell on how these people are treating me. How dare they treat me like this? Who these people are and how toxic these behaviors are at this workplace, because I know that, right? So instead, I'm going to pivot. And I found so much success through this. Instead, I'm going to pivot my energy, my focus on, I have found this amazing job. I am working in this lovely job. Everyone there is respectful. Everyone I work with at this job is amazing. They're respectful. They're funny. They're loving. They're kind. They're peaceful. I have arrived to where I want to call home, whatever it is, whatever your affirmations look like. So therefore, I create an energy pool and a positive energy pool to directly focus what I want to manifest, which is this transition and shift within this position. Trust and believe you will be quite pleasantly surprised. Add that component. Trust, because here's the thing about energy fields, right? Wherever we focus our energy, the energy grows. So if we focus our energy on being discontented, and listen, don't be disingenuous and don't be, well, I'm not going to complain. But deep down inside, you really want to complain. Look, I vent. Okay. I have friends where I will vent some discontentment. I will vent. That's just part of life. Then I regroup and focus solely majority of my energy on where I need to pivot, because I realize it's easier to sit back and complain and gripe and really sit in that energy source. And the longer you sit within that energy source, you just, to me, this is what I've always felt. I'm just going down, 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 down. It starts off with the behaviors. Then it starts off with the horrible parking they have. Then it starts off with that they don't even have communication. Then it starts off with all the other things. All the cafeteria food tastes like crap. You see what I'm saying? Everything just starts to build up. And then I realized through life experiences, when that buildup happens of discontentment, then I'm more prone to making irrational decisions, unfocused decisions, because I'm fed up and I'm just sick and tired of it. I haven't had a moment to really set my atmosphere to where I'm going, to pull that energy source, to populate to my destination where I need to go, because I've been so consumed with this dilemma, with what's going on. Now, I'm not saying that you should ignore, we're human. I'm not saying you should ignore your present day circumstances or whatever it is that you may be going through. What I'm rather encouraging you on is understanding your situation, acknowledging your situation, right? And absolutely, if you got a safe space of friends that you could talk to in a healthy manner, getting it off your chest, however that looks like for you, but not dwelling in it, not giving it energy, not, because that, to me, in my experience, has always been my downfall. I don't know about other people. And so understanding that you're creating this dynamic shift in energy when you start to focus on, this is the right around the path of manifesting. When you start to focus on everything you want, when you start to believe that you have everything that you want, then you start to move your energy towards that. Whether it is, I can't stand where I live. This apartment is so crummy. I'm so sick and tired of them. It's got leaking pipes. I'm so sick of it. I can't wait to get out of my lease. And every time you come home from work, it just like gives you a mood change, affects your energy, and you're just so sick and tired. Now everything, we're nitpicking on every single thing, right? But reality is you probably cannot break that lease. Probably cannot, right? If you can, kudos. But maybe you're not in a position to break the lease, and maybe you got 6 more months. So whatever you do, vision boards, imagining, going to visit other apartment communities, other housing situations, feeling yourself within them, smelling yourself within them, touching the staged furniture within them, saying, this is home. This is a loving home. My situation has turned around. I am in a loving home. I am in a place where everything is taken care of. Those of affirmation, building those positive affirmations as your building block for where you're going. So now you're creating that energy shift to pivot to where you want to go. Granted, the situation over here traveling as quiet as it's kept, right? But we're not solving anything by dwelling and exhausting and spending all our energy in it. Right? For the most part, most of our safe friends and family members have heard us talk about the same thing. But because inability to quickly change the situation within that moment, then now you pivot to a positive resolution on what the steps you're going to do, how you're going to do the steps. Perhaps you don't see yourself with the down payment and deposit for this beautiful apartment that you are wanting to go to, but just believe that it's yours. Continue to walk in gratitude. Right? So for that example, the gratitude within that moment can look like, you know what? I don't like the conditions within this apartment, but I know that I am going to get an apartment with better conditions. Apartment, I thank you so much for being my home within this moment. I love you for being my home within this moment. I give thanks to you for being my home within this moment. Right? You give this area and place gratitude as you pivot your energy to where you're going. Right? Now, listen, we want to exercise wisdom and discernment because everything is not a one size fits all. So don't take things that I'm saying here, because everything is a case by case. There are some situations that are so trifling, right? They we don't see the thanks in them. I'm just saying. But what can I do? I could give thanks to where I'm going, what I'm about to manifest, how I'm about to live, or how I'm about to move, how this job position I'm about to get, or this car I'm about to get. Right? So find a way. Spirit will always guide you. Your inner self, higher self will always guide you. I wanted to talk about a story time real quick to link to this atmosphere of gratitude while you're in this moment, right? For manifesting wherever it is that you want to be, or whatever it is that you want. So, and remember, we're talking about the energy of gratitude. Don't make it too big. Don't make it too, out there. If you cannot find it, that's okay. Be thankful in what you got. At least I got shoes, right? Rando, but at least I got shoes. Because guess what? Someone else is out there with no shoes, right? I'm thankful for the shoes I have. Random. I'm thankful for the clothes that I have. Random, right? Perhaps, you done with the apartment. You done complained about your situation, your living situation. You're believing yourself for a better place, a better situation, but you're really not finding a lot of gratitude energy within that situation because it done frustrated you to the core. So perhaps you're just grateful for the clothes in your closet. Perhaps you're grateful for the socks that you have in your sock drawer. Perhaps you're grateful for the food that you have in your refrigerator. Right? Finding the moments that aid within your life and within that moment situation. Because like I said before, it used to be a challenge, especially when Murphy's Law was Murphy's Lawing. And it was just one thing after the next, where I felt like I cannot, for the love of me, catch a break. Like if this mess don't stop, I don't know what I'm about to do, but I cannot catch a break. So now it's just going back to, what? I'm grateful that I have a loving, supporting spouse. Boom. Okay. That would bring me down a little bit. What's that got to do with the current situation? Probably nothing. But I have to focus my mind on something else that's positive to keep me uplifted. Sometimes we have to be our own advocates, right? Random. That's why I was like, rando. Perhaps it's whatever it is that's blowing out of proportion in my life, and at least I got a functioning car. Like, what's that got to do with the price of rice in China? But I'm just saying, it makes me feel good, right? It's like, oh, okay, back to reality. Yeah, at least we got that going on for ourselves, right? So let's focus on the energy of gratitude as it pertains to manifesting, understanding that two things don't have to be the same. You don't have to show while you're in a tumultuous situation. You don't have to show fake gratitude, or you don't have to reach and think about what it is that you're grateful for. Pull from the leaves of randomness in your life, from the gratefulness of the things, or give thanks to the things that have shown up for you in your life. That heck, I'm grateful for this desk. I've had this desk forever, but I'm grateful for it. Right? So let's move to this quick story time, if there's such a thing as quick story time. So within and hopefully this resonates with someone. Let's sound the alarm. When I do call onto an action to use wisdom/discernment, using that gut feeling, using your soul's connection, using your spirit's guide, take time to really, sometimes I know I've been irrational before. I've just, if you want an impulsive person, you're talking to them right now, so I have to learn to come off of that too. But here's the thing. I remember when I was coming back into the workforce, it would be the year that I was turning 40. I had been out of the workforce for a few years, and my background is in the medical industry. And so I found, coming back in, I wanted something, what they call PRN. PRN is kind of like an as needed staff member. Like, I call you, don't call me when I need y'all kind of deal. The recruiter was so charming. He did talk me into a full-time position, knowing that going well, I wasn't ready for a full-time position. Like, I was just coming to reacclimate myself with my skills and so forth, and kind of just, do it here and there because, I had stuff set up already, my little side hustles and stuff I was doing at home. But nevertheless, we were here. Accepted the offer for this place. I came to this place with I have very naive moments, by the way. And I came to this place with some naive moments. I came open-minded as well to learn and to receive. I accepted this position because it was 6 minutes away from where I lived. I said, okay, whatever, man. We will figure it out. You know what I mean? We'll figure it out, work around it, So as I was in this work environment, mind you, I've been working since I was 16 years old. Let's just get a little backstory because that's the author in me. And so as I was acclimating into this role, I was met with behavior I had never experienced in my entire life at a workplace. I didn't know how to handle it because, as human as I am, I kept telling myself, I'm strong. I got this. I'm a strong girl. I got this. And then here's the thing. Now I'm coming back after taking a year off again, in addition to the time I took off for my sabbatical from work. But the year I ended up taking off right before going back to work was after my sister passed. I really just want to take that time off to grieve. So I'm still a little bit fragile. And so I figured work would keep me busy. Okay, the full-time thing will keep me busy. Let's do it. So here I am, and I'm being met with behaviors I've never been met with before. And granted, to each his own, but it was unacceptable. It was a very small department, 2 men. And most places that I've ever gone in my work career life in my field, I usually have always been one of the youngest in that industry within the department. I'm not new to this, right? Because I started at 20. And even in those spaces at that age, I was fairly always the youngest in the company. But here it is. Just to give a little backstory, because I do respect my elders. And I am met with, for the first time in my life, there's one thing I don't play with. My writing. That's my baby. That's me right there. Writing and reading literally saved my life from addiction as well. That's my baby right there. And then my skill set, that's my passion as well, right there. I don't play about that. You could not like me, you could not want to work with me, but don't try and sabotage my skill set. We'll have a problem. And that's where it was. For the first time in my life, I met saboteurs, people that were intentionally trying to, and I was having naive moments. When you've been away from evil, like this amount of evil, then I'm naive. I'm like, wait, it's in your face, but you're trying to, it's trying to register, and then when I finally register, I'm like, oh, okay, this is where it's at. Okay. All right. This is where it's at. On top of being yelled at in front of patients as if I was slow, my other pet peeve, I'm a whole adult. Don't yell at me, talk to me. So I'll give you an example for those that need an example. So let's say within my line of work, before I start a test, it's advisable to thoroughly research a patient's chart. You have to understand what you're about to do, if they've had this done before, what everything really is contingent upon that. So the lead would send me to go get a patient in the emergency department for him. No problem. My guard's down. I go grab this patient from the emergency department, bring him back to the department. And when I brought him back to the department, he would tell me, you do them, and hover over me. And so I'm in a room with no computer. I know I should speak up, but like, well, I need to look up. And it's like, these people acted like I was a bother. They're so frustrated with me. And do you know other people's energy can also directly affect you? So there I was, especially even if you feel like you know your stuff. I knew my stuff. I'd been in the industry for a long time. I was very efficient. But here it is, these people's energy around it. And I was so confused because I'm like, why y'all hire me? And granted, maybe it was the director's choice because she was the one that interviewed me. They sat around and nodded their head. And I understand that about, just going along to get along with the boss and stuff like that. But I was like, golly, it didn't make any sense. So you want to sabotage my skills and who I am and what I stand for, right? So I would say, I need to look at that chart. He would get so irate, yell at me in front of the patient. So in order to avoid being yelled at the patient, sometimes I would just start a blind test, which I never liked because he would have read the chart and he knew what was in the chart, right? So he set me up. This person already has this pre-existing condition. So he knows it, but he's setting me up. So what's so funny about when people try to do evil things to you, it always backfires, especially if you are a light unto this dark world, okay? And the yin and the yang, the light and the darkness. And so here it was. So he would get so huffy puffy. His ulterior motive was to throw me off Richter scale. Like he would get so huffy puffy and storm out. And when I got the patient, he was crying. He had his head like into his shirt. Life could be tough. I understand, and so we got him. And my job is to make my patients comfortable because I felt so bad, in hindsight. So we get done, right? I'm in the room. He's huffing, puffing, pacing, being visibly irritable, walking and storming out. And these were the conditions. I had never worked in such, never in my whole entire life, ever worked in such. And the guy even said, like, when he stormed out, he was like, what's his problem? He seems angry. Now, I can't stand it when my patients see what's going on. Like, they're not supposed to see that, and now I'm out here just trying to gaslight the situation. No, he's fine in my mind, knowing dang on well he ain't. So now I can't scan because I'm being taken off of focus. Like, what is your problem? So he storms back in, just like really sabotaging. He's not giving me time to finish the scan, time to prove myself, time to do whatever. It's really on some sabotage stuff. So he comes back in and grabs the probe out of my hand. Mind you, he's been doing this for like 40 some years, whatever. I don't know, for a long time. Grabs the probe out of my hand in front of that patient. That patient was not having it. And so when we leave out, right? I had left out. I was hovering in the hallway. And when he leaves out and we're walking down the hallway, trying to go somewhere quiet because the door was open, he's going to ask me, what did I see? And I said nothing in terms of that I was interrupted, right? Still trying to be cordial at work. And I said nothing. And he goes, you said nothing? I was like, nothing because I hadn't finished the protocol. And he was like, oh, he's acute. He's full of, of stenosis, the disease we're looking for. But I was like, I never got a chance to finish it. You didn't finish it? And you see what I'm saying? Like, sir, you're doing too much. And that's why I was like, I can't be here. They don't want me here. Has anybody ever worked somewhere where you could sense and feel people didn't want you there? Yeah, they didn't want me there at all. Because then it was unsafe. Every move I made was riddled with sabotage. It was riddled with sabotage. The only way I could be myself was when he was off, the few days he was off, and I could go in my flow. Yes, someone would say, well, and then this is my nature. I let things play out. I observe and I understand the situations I'm in. And then what's so interesting is when I got this full-time position, there was a person. It was a person's full-time position that had transferred within this hospital system, but they wanted to come back. So when I knew that they wanted to come back, I realized this is also more efforts to get me out the door. Because another thing, also, I'm coming from leadership. Don't forget that. When you get hired, you keep looking at the post to see if they have dissolved your position. Most places should absolve the position, otherwise they're questioning. Sometimes, I'm not saying this is a fair thing, maybe they forget to take it down unless they're having second thoughts and stuff like that. So the position that I had applied for was taken down, but I never saw a part-time position. But this lady came back to the department because she couldn't handle it over there. And so now the chaos and sabotage increased. But I ain't no slow folk like that, because I could tell, and respectfully, I'm not trying to say that, anything bad about slow folks. I'm just saying it's an example. Calm down, people. And so at that time I realized, okay, they want me out. They want me out. And this other thing, if anybody's a manager out here in leadership, you can't just hire people and not follow up physically with these people that you hire. Granted, the lady that was a director there, she had her hands full. She had so many departments, but it's no excuse to connect. Because the reason why you wonder why there's such a large turnover is because people are being freaking ran out of these departments. You're losing good people behind you. You're so swamped and busy. And also understanding that you have a bull in a Chinese shop. You notice most leaders know what's going on in these departments. When I was in that department, they talked about this man and his wrath. Like he was diabolical. He was crazy. They knew this in this entire department, this strip. Our department was small. It was we shared a hallway with the other departments, but everyone else in the other departments knew about this man. So if they knew, the director had to have known. I don't want to buy that you didn't know. Anyway, so I started to realize that it started to affect my personhood. Like when I pulled up to the parking lot, I'm getting very anxious. I'm getting my stomach knotted. I didn't want to be there. But we some of us are in this culture where, I'm not no quitter. I'm strong. So I'm trying to do the strong girl thing. But every time I pulled up there to the parking lot, I've been working since I was 16. Okay. Never had an issue no matter where I went. And I've worked a lot of places with lots of different people. This was one of my first encounters with darkness itself. I mean, when I say that was just a sliver of an example, this man would make remarks such as, when I remember one time the lady has now come back to this position in air quotes right now, part-time, whatever. And we all in this room, and he goes, well, let's say the lady's name is Susan, and let's say the other guy's name is let's say the other guy's name is Tom. All right. So here goes the lead saying, well, Susan and Tom had to go to school for this. Like imagine being in such an environment where someone utters those words. Sir, where you think I came from, the Women's Correctional Facility program? Like, see, I've always been quiet because I know when it's time to bow out gracefully. This is where the twist comes, to bow out gracefully. And what was crazy was, before getting this job, I was like, this is it. It's 6 minutes away. This is you. Sometimes you get those fake feelings where it's like, this is it. This is where I'm going to be. All this other stuff. You hype yourself up. And then when reality starts to show itself to us, like it was doing to me, I was in denial. Like, what? And I could see it and I could recognize it, but I was in denial. This man would continue to hurl stuff that was so offensive, so hurtful, so beyond professionalism. These people would go at it in the hallway, arguing in front of, it was the most uncouth environment I'd ever worked at in my whole entire life. And I've done a lot of jobs in my life, a lot of jobs. But when this man hit me with they went to school, what did he think? Did he think I was part of the affirmative action? With affirmative action, you still have to have credentials. I'm sorry. I'm just pouring my heart out right now. And listen, and here's the thing about me. In my entire profession, if you go to our website with the credentialing institution, it's 4% Black people within this entire profession, 4% in the nation, right? I'm not one to quickly throw black and white and all this other stuff, but I'll give you some backstory. It was what it was. I was the only Black girl in that department. I'm used to those spaces though, because my whole entire life being in this industry, it's only 4% of us. So I've been in unfamiliar spaces. And I've never been treated this way. This way. I'm still confused. What did he mean they went to school? I went to school. And you know what's funny about the whole entire dynamic? I told you I've been working in my career since I was 20. I came out of school when I was 20, signed my first contract before I turned 21 that year. And I was doing travel assignments and so forth when I was 20. So, but what's crazy about it, coming back into this industry, the two employees, I still had more years. The lady had been doing it for 6 years. The guy had been doing it for like 10. I've been doing it for 15. Mine is about the 3-4 years I took out. You know what I mean? So in all actuality, but anyways, I digress. So all these things are happening. I'm realizing this is the most toxic place I've ever been at. From the sabotaging, they want to personally put it down that I am misdiagnosing, missing disease, all this, which is all lies and stuff like that. I knew what time it was. Y'all want your girl back. I would have more respect if people just say what was on their hearts and mind, even though it would have been a liability issue. So, family, I bowed out gracefully. Yes, I did. Even though in that moment, I was conflicted. I thought this was kind of it. But I said, girl, sometimes I got to get my head out the fog. That's a little survivor child in me. I said, girl, this is not the place. This is not the place. You're grateful for this place, but this is not the place. You're grateful for this place, but this is not the place. I couldn't see a future there. I couldn't. And this guy, the lead, he'd been doing it for 40-some years old. That year he was turning 65. And you could tell when people have been stuck in their old ways, because I'm like, the job sites have changed, sir. He was very sexist, misogynistic. All these things he would say towards femininity, towards me, towards my skills, towards who I was. I was not respected as a peer, even though I had more experience than both the people he had in his department at that day. But we're not going to say all that. I digress. But so, listen, I was hurt. I was confused and conflicted and hurt. I put this vision board. I got this manifestation stuff going on. I'm going to work at a place where I'm going to love everyone. They're going to love me. Granted, everybody doesn't have to get along, but it's for the most part, it's going to be chill stat. It's going to be vibes. You know, it's going to be work. Work is going to be work. But never did I manifest for this. That wasn't on the board. So I was so conflicted, because then even, you get that excitement that fades away immediately where, oh, I got this and I was excited and I'm here to be an essential part of this team. And I was not met with any of that. I had to bow out gracefully. There is no harm, no foul. And sometimes assessing your situation and bowing out gracefully. You don't always have to be the one fighting for stuff. You don't always have to be the one voicing for stuff. Listen to me and listen to me carefully. I am not saying tolerate intolerable behavior and so forth. What worked for me worked for me. What works for you works for you. Handle your situation accordingly, because at the same time, I had my best friend who was in corporate as well, just screaming across every time I would call her. She's laying it out on me. You need to document this. You need to do this. You need to do it. She was giving me the ins and outs. But when my soul and my spirit tell me it's time to go, it's time to go. I knew that I didn't want to argue about it. I knew that I didn't want to fight about it, because I knew that I didn't want to be there. I did not want to be in that culture. So for me personally, I chose to bow out gracefully. I was crying every Friday in the bathroom. I was having a hard time trying to. All right. So sometimes it may seem like something is really for you. You may feel like this is the moment. And that's how I felt at that time. I was like, this is it. This is my thing. This is where I'm supposed to be. I felt it. But now I realize, hey, sometimes the feeling might feel really good going in, right? That it might have a feeling of this is it. But when stuff starts to happen, you start to question yourself like, wait a minute, I thought this, because I sure did. I started questioning myself. I was like, I thought this was the job. Like, this was the most, like, I don't even know how to explain this to y'all. Like, and I'm a person that could listen, number one, you're hearing from an adult child who survived childhood traumas. You're talking to somebody that has survived dysfunction on top of dysfunction on top of toxic dysfunction, right? So listen, I'm that type. I can navigate chaos, mayhem, and craziness. But this was on a whole nother level. I was crying every Friday. My best friend was in my ear about how to escalate to HR, how to do this, how to do that, and all this other stuff. And I just keep feeling my spirit, my soul say, be still, bow out, be still, bow out. And I knew it. And I was annoyed because I was like, I'm not that type of person that just like most of my jobs had been long term, if you look at the record. But on this part, I had barely passed the 90 days, and unbeknownst to everyone, right? Even if you're new and the company has hired you, they have a 90-day probationary period. And as a candidate, I was still also saucing out to see if this is a place for me. But I had thought that this was going to be it. So we're both making determination here. We're trying to figure it out, both the employer and employee. But I was so disappointed because in my mind, it seemed like the place. And so so I did say at the start of the podcast, actually, my birthday is in November the 18th to be specific. So I started working here like summertime or something like that. But right before my birthday, actually, that year was when I was turning 40. So right before my 40th birthday, I resigned. November 16th, I resigned. And I did not give a 2-week notice. I couldn't stomach and stand to be there any longer. And because then I had this whole talk with myself that I'm about to be 40. I'm sick of this ish. Like, I'd improved myself in my field already. And I don't know what the heck going on. I thought I was strong and cut out for this, but this is not it. This is not it. So I bowed out gracefully. I wrote a resignation letter and I sent it, emailed it to the director. Of course, the weirdest thing happened, honestly, for real. Like, my phone was acting up the next day. Talk about divine timing or whatever is going on. My phone was acting weird the next day. I didn't even know I wasn't receiving calls. And then she sent an email saying, oh, I got your email. I tried to call you or something. And it's a good thing. I realized in hindsight, 2020 was a good thing that had happened at that moment, because it would have probably gone against me trying to bow out gracefully and maybe verbally express to her about my experiences there. And I want y'all to understand that I need y'all to live within your true authentic selves and who you are. This is a story and an example of my life. I don't want anybody to take this as the cookie cutter print out on how to navigate toxic workspaces. I think that we also do have tools at our disposal, such as documenting events, bringing these events to said people that and departments that need to be, made aware of. I just personally knew that with the events going on there, that there was nothing to be resolved. Like, no meeting would resolve anything. These people didn't want me in their department. Like, it was cutthroat. So even if we had a meeting, I wouldn't feel comfortable. I was already feeling unsafe. So I want to be in a place where I could at least feel safe, trust the people around me. And so that's why I decided to resign. I wasn't going to do 2 weeks notice. They didn't deserve my 2 weeks notice. I was done. My nervous system was fried. My emotions, my anxiety, all this stuff. I was crying every Friday in that bathroom. Okay, times when I'd get yelled at, I was crying. Yelled at for no reason. Like, don't yell at me, talk to me. I'm a human being. And it was so when I left that position, I was a little bit confused at what just had happened. Saddened at what I thought was supposed to be. And then I heard Spirit say something to me. And this is the part I hope that this resonates with someone. Spirit told me, be grateful in this moment. Be grateful in this moment. Child, I was pissed. I was like, what you mean be grateful? At what? Like, everything is just replaying in my mind. All the freaking craziness that I had just endured. And not only to add insult to injury, my sister that I was so close to, who also was in corporate leadership that I would talk to about work, was gone. My voice of reason in these matters is dead. So I'm like stuck. I'm out here by myself. I hear my best friend's voice loud and clear. My best friend is a gangster. She's on that, like, get these people. Sis is out here that she need to be a lawyer. She's out here on get these people. But I'm like, nope, I'm done. She was really frustrated at me and stuff like that. But I just knew when it was time to bow out gracefully. Has there ever been a moment in your life, in your time, where you felt something was so real, perhaps it's a relationship, perhaps you think you have found the one, this is husband, this is wife, or perhaps this is the long-term partner, this relationship is solid, only to find out that what you thought is not? And how did you handle that? How did you process that pain, that hurt, that betrayal, that disappointment? Perhaps it's house. Maybe you feel like you've secured your house and everything is going and somebody outbids you last minute. When you feel like the cards and everything is just, stacked for you in that moment, but then when you get into it, it just all unravels. How have you been able to deal with it? I tell you, Spirit told me to be grateful, and I was pissed off because I had to process everything that had happened. And the more I kept processing it, I was getting mad because I was like, why would I allow these people to treat me like this? Like, I don't understand how I was so quiet. I didn't say not one iota. I didn't argue with anybody. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't stand up for myself. I started getting mad at myself too. Like, I didn't even stand up for myself, all this other stuff. And I just said, I was really kind of disappointed in myself as well. I started all these feelings and emotions, and Spirit kept nagging me about be grateful. Be grateful. Oh, I was pissed. I had the scrub tops that were embroidered. I took them all, the tops. I like the pants. I took them all up, balled them up in a trash bag. I was pissed. I was upset. You hear me? Because I'm one of those people too, sometimes in life where things happen and it happens after the fact, right? You get mad after the fact, like, wait a minute, that was kind of shady. Like, wait a minute. That, after time passes, you start to realize you were mistreated. You know what I'm saying? And then you just get madder. If there's such a word. So that's where I was. I was like getting so pissed off. And what had happened? Why did I disappoint myself like that? Why didn't I speak up for myself? Why didn't I say something? Well, you know what? Maybe I should call the director back and tell her exactly how it feels. You know what? Matter of fact, let me look for the exit interview. Where's this exit interview? Where's HR at? Let me tell them what I went through. And I said, nah, fam, chill out. You bugging. Spirit said, be grateful. So I realized how upset I was, how angry I was. And I didn't like that energy. Like, that energy was getting too dark too quick. So I say to myself, okay, Spirit, I'm going to go with what you're saying, because you always never led me astray. You always right. And so I said, you know what? I'm grateful for the experience that I had over there. I'm grateful that I, familiarized myself with what was going on in the medical industry. I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm grateful for the experience. right? And then I had to do a let it go ritual where I had to write it down on my Post-it and put a little magical candle stuff on there and burn it in my cauldron because I want to burn it to release it. Burn to release it. And I said, I am done with this situation. I genuinely forgave the situation. I'm ready to move forward. Now, mind you, before then, I would hold on to some stuff because I felt some type of way. I'd be kind of pissed, low key, like feeling some type of way for a little bit. It takes a lot of time for me. But for them, that was the quickest I ever noticed myself, especially with Spirit saying, be grateful, be grateful. And I was like, you know what, whatever, man. I was grateful, burnt that in my cauldron and cut the ties and energy of that in terms of I release it, right? I don't want to have this thing. I release it. I forgive what happened because if I do understand about karma and how people get their fair share, it goes to get their fair share. If anything, keep it moving, sis. Okay. So after that, I tell you what, I balanced out. I felt better about myself. And I give myself a couple of months off as I just to refresh and align myself. And sure enough, after that, I was like, you know what? I'm ready. But the trauma had kind of settled in. So over there, I was working in the vascular lab. And so I was like, oh, because I have a dual skill set, like with different departments. So I said, the next job I'm going to look for, I'm just going to do general work. Like, I don't even want I was traumatized. I don't even want to be in the vascular lab at this point in time. But here's the story, right? So I was grateful. I did what Spirit told me to do. I let it go, cast it into the universe, and just focus my attention on getting to a better place, a new workplace, and yada, 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 woo, 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 woo. But still, I mean, human is human. I was kind of salty about that experience, just a tad, where I didn't want to be in the vascular department. I was like, I don't never work in the vascular department. If it's anything like them people over there, I don't ever want to. And granted, I love vascular. So here it is. I was willing to go work somewhere else, to betray myself again because of other people's experiences towards me. Right? I learned a pivotal moment and something big at that time, right? Never, ever allow people and the circumstances that you go through determine your future and your destiny. If you're truly good at something and someone has the power or the ability to talk you out of it, go with your gut feeling and hang on to it. Sometimes it looks like family members. Oh, you're a painter. That's not going to give you any money. That's just a hobby. But perhaps you want to go full throttle with it. Oh, you're doing music. How old are you now? That's not going to go anywhere. Get you a job. Hold on to it no matter what people say, because I learned something that I almost forfeited something that I loved doing just to go appease another aspect of a department that I wouldn't have been satisfied in, only because I felt like they had run amok on me. And so so what happened was I get this offer. Well, I find this job and I want to do general studies, and the interview happens to be on Zoom, right? And the manager there, she's not new to this hospital organization, but she's new to this hospital. And she brought in one of the people that have been at that hospital, who happens to be the vascular lab lead. Ain't that something? I'm trying to tell you, if your spirit guides ain't out here pushing things for you, then I don't want them. I don't want them if they ain't out here fighting for me in the front lines. I don't want them if they ain't out here pushing stuff and pushing me back to where I'm supposed to be. So here I am in this Zoom meeting, applied for a general position because I'm so distressed about what had happened, even though I feel like, listen, I forgave him, I let it go. But I was like, okay, don't re-traumatize yourself. Go to a different department. And here I am in this Zoom meeting, and there's a lead from the vascular department, not even from the general department in which I had applied for, but because he was knowledgeable within the hospital, he also knows general. So he was here to answer the questions since the manager was new. So when I saw this man's eyes, they looked like kind eyes, because at that time it was masking season, full masking season. I was like, oh, he's got kind eyes. And then the thing is, I enjoy vascular. I just want to pick up where I left off. And so now I'm in this interview, getting asked these questions, but I'm thinking, you know what? I want to go back to vascular. He seems like a cool dude to work with, and my energy wise. And so after that, I called the recruiter after that interview and I laugh and I say, listen, I know I applied for the general position, but can I just switch it? Because they had an open vascular position as well. Can I just switch it for vascular? And plus vascular had all the amenities, like, you know what I mean? I was like, who wants to do call option? Like, you know, for those that are not in the medical industry, it's like being called out to go do stuff at the hospital when you off of work already or something like that. Ain't nobody got no time for that. So the recruiter's like, yeah, that's fine. So we make the transition. I tell you, it was light and day. The lead worked with me. No, I didn't get yelled at. It was like working what I wanted, working with a peer, and so forth and so forth. And my whole entire thing is, so now I'm at this establishment going strong. I get a connection. And guess what the connection is? You guessed it. Guess what the connection is? I'm minding my own business. Letting the past be the past and the future and present be the present and the future. And I get a connection for, hey, we need PRN work. I was like, PRN work? And I have people, this, you know, I'm getting the lead saying, listen, I've heard good things about you. Woo, 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 woo. You know, so I'm like, okay. And PRN is just an option to as needed. But I already got a full time. So I'm like, I'm flexible in my mind, right? You know, so we got to make these dreams happen. I need to get to Faroe Islands and start cranking these novels out, writing on location. And I need to get to Denmark. And I need to get to them blue waters. I don't ever know how to say Maldives or something like that. I need to get to the blue waters with the little huts out in them. The little blue waters with them little huts. I need to get there. So I need my time. I need my freedom. So I said, okay, I'm game. Do you know this PRN? I knew about it a while ago. So, but I wanted things to be in action before I sat down and spoke to y'all. So guess where the PRN position's at? Mm-hmm. Guess what organization? Mm-hmm. Yep. The same organization, different hospital, right? So out here we have organizational systems. Let's say, I'll give you an example, even though it might not be so familiar for overseas people, but in California, they have a lot of Kaiser Permanentes. The Kaiser Permanente is a hospital organization, but they have them all over. They might have one in Fontana, the city, and they might have one in, I don't know, let's say going off somewhere in LA County, right? Or I don't know. I don't think they got one in the Valley in Redlands, but in a different town. You get what I'm saying? But it's the same organization. So it's the same thing here. It's a hospital organization. The one that was crazy and all this other part, then now they want me over here in their esteemed vascular lab, but not the same people though. It's the same organization name, but a different hospital location. Even better hospital location, actually, quiet as it's kept between you and I. Talk about life coming full circle. Talk about life coming full circle. The same people in this organization at a different hospital that wanted to make me seem like I was incompetent, that tried to sabotage me to make it seem like I did not know what I was doing. The same people in the same organization, different hospital system, who tried to sabotage my growth, my career, who I was, my character as a person. By the way, let's pause on that. I'm not one person to brag about. I feel awkward about bragging about my accomplishments and stuff like that. But let's talk about the fact that at this new hospital system that I was at, I think 6-7 months in, I got 8 months in or something, I got a top performer award. I mean, I don't know how it happened, but I got it. Okay. So if one thing I am valuable about is my character and who I am and my hand skill, That's why I say don't play with me on my timeline as it become to what I do. I know, here's the thing about life. You have to know without a shadow of a doubt who you are, how you move and navigate. If anything I've ever known in life as an employee material is that I will meet you up to what I said, especially in the interview. When you get me as an employee, I know what kind of assets I bring to the establishment. I'm confident about that. But their ability to try and taint me to this person, which almost rerouted my destiny, because instead of working in the department that I loved, I was willing to dishonor myself and work in a department where I would not feel satisfied or completed because I was so afraid to ever venture again into a vascular lab. But as you may know, with my spirit guides, is like, no, sir, we're going to put this person here. We're going to put this person here in the Zoom meeting. And within that moment of that meeting, I made up my decision that I'm going back onto the horse. So perhaps this may resonate with someone out there. This message may resonate with a person that has been told time and time again that you lose what you're doing. It ain't meant for you, but you know in your heart and in your core. I just want to say this message: stay in the spirit and energy of gratitude. I had to learn through the painful, most hardest moment of my life. Yes, I shed some tears behind that mess because I have never understood. I don't know what type of evil this is. I'm not trying to be weird or funny, but I had never met this. I have done so many jobs in my life, but I had never blatantly met this type of dark, low vibrational energy that is here to sabotage me. I was like, y'all don't like you. This was my first. And so it was very disappointing, disheartening. I was hurt. I didn't know how to process all of that stuff. And I was willing to jeopardize my passion behind, and they were going to win. But no. Life itself and my destiny, where I was meant to be, where I was intended to be, what I'm good at. I could do some general, but I jive with my vascular. I don't play about my vascular. That's where it's at. And these people almost had me second guessing. That's why I said I want to come here with this message. In 2024, we might not understand it in the moment. We might not know it in the moment because, granted, life is happening in the future, present, future. We're moving forward. So we might not see the trajectory. It might seem like a faux appearance of goodness like it did for me. But guess what? That moment also had to happen. We have to look back in hindsight 2020 for learning purposes. And I realized something, that it built more strength and character in me. And that moment had to happen because I had to understand that there is this type of evil out here. Otherwise, I would have never, ever thought they would be this type of evil until I had to experience it. I also learned a fundamental aspect about myself, which was the ability to let go and not hold a grudge and not hold ill feelings, but to be able to let go and trust the universe further and to surrender to the universe, despite of how I felt. And life itself will show itself to us. Though I thought, you know what, I was going to go this way and that way, and it felt like they had taken me off track. But no, my destiny was my destiny to be in the vascular lab. Not only did I gain going over here to a whole nother organization with being recognized finally of what type of a person I am, work ethic wise, but at the same token, it's just the same thing that from where I left, I must have had a over $5-6 pay increase hourly. So things worked out. Like, you know, it wasn't a loss. It wasn't a loss. And then you circle back months later, before I even hit a year at this organization, the same organization, but different hospital system wants me to be a part of that, to help them in that department, PRN status, to be there. Not same hospital, but same hospital organization. So how bad was I? So there's power in bowing down and bowing out gracefully. I realized, had I sat up here and did all this energy that my best friend wanted me to do, all of this, yeah, and you know, and I would probably not be in this position. I would probably not be in this position to be able to even get back into the system. Now I'm back into the same organizational system. Different hospital, I should add. And I'm not gonna lie to you, something in me a little bit is like, I can't wait for them to see my reports. That's just the petty in me. That's just the little petty in me. I mean, I got to keep it real with y'all. That's just the little petty in me, because it's the same organization, different hospitals. So sometimes the patient could come to that hospital and maybe go to that hospital. And then when y'all pull the patient chart up in Epic, then you're just going to see my name like, hello, somebody, can you hear me? I mean, I gotta, just that little petty, y'all. Let me have that little moment of pettiness. But listen, I digress. So I want to encourage someone. There could be someone that's going through this right now, right? Surrender to the universe. Some things we are not meant to understand completely in the moment when it's happening. I'm learning and I'm realizing that, because I was like, oh my gosh. And there's some things we want to veer away from because of the experiences that we experience. Perhaps it's somebody that's dating out here, and it feels like every time you date, you get cheated on, you get dogged on. You just the crowd that keeps coming your way is just least desirable, and you're like, I know it's not me. What is going on? Give it to the universe, cast it to the universe. Don't hold any grudges. Surrender to the universe. Move your life forward. Be grateful for the people that you did date, the frogs that you did kiss, and say, you know what, universe, I'm grateful that you showed me these people, because now I know what I want. So now your manifestation for whoever you want in your life will be, this is what I want. This is what I'm attracting. This is what I'm attracting, because you have gone through the experience of kissing a lot of frogs to get to your prince or princess. Yes. Okay. So perhaps it's different circumstances. Keep plugging away, whatever the circumstance looks like. Don't let people tell you how to handle your situation. There's a moment and a time for everything. If this was a place that I was fighting to perhaps have longevity, I would have perhaps gone through the proper documentation. I come from leadership. I was a manager for 14 and a half years, as well as a clinician. So I am very privy to the steps of making formal complaints and understanding behaviors that are least desirable, and understanding red flags in a department. But I knew that wasn't my fight to fight. And when I left, and when Spirit kept telling me to give gratitude, I started holding on to that gratitude. Thank you for the experience. Thank you for showing me what I don't want. And you know what? It helped with my interview for the next place. I literally had a list like, we gonna crack this out right now out the gate. Let's find out some of these things. Okay. So I love you all so much. Sometimes situations, circumstances may appear differently than we have imagined. We have to be able to give gratitude and thanks and have that energy within us, whether we realize that this isn't for us right now, because granted, there's always something out here working for our good. That's for us. I hope that this resonates with somebody, that this helps someone, no matter what the circumstance looks like. Live and operate in a space of gratitude. Even when you're pissed off, find something to be grateful over. Even when you feel like, you're the one that has been unjustly treated, find something to be grateful about and resonate in that grateful energy and atmosphere, and just witness how this abundance flow will work. I could tell you that I never foresaw the trickle effect of the abundance, but I know that for a fact I would not have aligned myself with that had I not surrendered, had I not cast that away, had I not decided to move forward in the spirit of gratitude and just leaning into the atmosphere and knowing that I've given and surrendered it to the universe, and knowing that I did the burnt sacrifice to let it go out of my system. So I know that I wouldn't have been receiving all these good things that came to follow. I mean, if it's not a life full circle, I'm just like laughing internally. It's funny to me. Just the same organizational system, different hospital, but yeah, child. Okay, whatever. It's funny. It's funny. It's a full circle. Like I said, the petty in me, because I'm human, the little petty in me. Wait till you see my report. Wait till you see my report. Uh-huh. let people try to take you away from your dreams and passion and your destiny. I love you guys so much.